In a distant part of the galaxy, a new threat emerged that filled every alien civilization with fear. It was called the Planet Eater. This massive, dark planet was unlike anything anyone had ever seen. It moved slowly through space, consuming everything in its path. Stars, asteroids, and even entire planets vanished into its depths, leaving nothing behind but silence. News of its destruction spread quickly, and soon the galaxy was in a panic. On a small blue planet called Earth, a team of human scientists was closely monitoring the situation. They had advanced technology and a deep understanding of the universe. Dr. Sarah Collins, a brilliant scientist with a passion for space exploration, led the team. She sat in her lab, surrounded by screens displaying images of the Planet Eater and the chaos it was causing. "We have to do something," Dr. Collins said, her voice steady but urgent. "If we don't act now, it will reach our solar system soon." Her team, consisting of engineers and astrophysicists, nodded in agreement. They were aware of the threat and knew that time was running out. The other alien races had sent messages of warning, but most had already lost their homes to the Planet Eater. It seemed like there was no hope. Dr. Collins studied the data on the screen. The Planet Eater was consuming energy from nearby stars, making it stronger with every passing day. "We need to understand how it works," she said. "If we can learn its weaknesses, we might be able to stop it." With determination, she gathered her team. "We are going to send a spaceship to investigate the Planet Eater. We need to gather more information, even if it means putting ourselves in danger." As they prepared for the mission, excitement mixed with fear. They designed a state-of-the-art spaceship equipped with the latest technology. It was small but powerful, capable of withstanding the harsh conditions of space. The day of the launch arrived, and the team gathered at the Space Center. The air buzzed with energy as they boarded the ship. Dr. Collins gave a final speech, urging everyone to stay focused. "We are humans, and we have faced challenges before. Together, we can face this one too." With a loud roar, the spaceship launched into the sky, leaving Earth behind. As they traveled through the cosmos, they saw the devastation caused by the Planet Eater. Fragments of planets and stars floated aimlessly, a haunting reminder of what had been lost. The crew members watched in silence, their hearts heavy with the weight of their mission. "Look at that," one of the engineers said, pointing at the massive shadow looming in the distance. The Planet Eater was closer than they had expected. As they approached, the ship began to shake from the gravitational pull of the Planet Eater. Panic set in, but Dr. Collins remained calm. "We need to stabilize the ship," she shouted, quickly working at her controls. "Hold on tight!" The crew scrambled to follow her commands, their training kicking in. They worked together, adjusting the ship's settings to counter the gravitational force. Slowly, they regained control, but the tension was palpable. Finally, they reached a safe distance from the Planet Eater. From their observation deck, they stared at the enormous planet, now just a shadow against the stars. It was terrifying and awe-inspiring at the same time. Dr. Collins initiated the scans, her fingers flying over the controls. The screens lit up with data, showing the energy levels and the planet's movements. "We need to figure out what it's doing," she said. "We can't let fear stop us." As the team worked diligently, they discovered something remarkable. The Planet Eater had a core that pulsed with energy. It absorbed energy from everything around it, growing stronger and more dangerous. Dr. Collins felt a flicker of hope. "If we can disrupt its energy flow, we might have a chance to stop it." With this newfound knowledge, the team knew they had to act quickly. They had seen enough destruction, and they were determined to save their home and the galaxy from this monster. The Planet Eater had terrorized countless civilizations, but now, for the first time, humanity was ready to fight back. As the human spaceship hovered near the Planet Eater, tension filled the cabin. Dr. Sarah Collins and her team were on the brink of something monumental. They had gathered valuable data, but now they needed to act quickly before the giant planet could grow even more powerful. The threat was real, and time was not on their side. "Everyone, let's focus," Dr. Collins said, her voice steady despite the fear in the air. "We need to come up with a plan to disrupt the Planet Eater's energy flow. We can't let it consume any more stars." The team gathered around the central control screen, where images of the Planet Eater flickered ominously. "What are our options?" one of the engineers asked, looking at the readings on the screen. "It's absorbing energy at an incredible rate." "We could create an energy pulse," Dr. Collins suggested. If we harness energy from nearby stars, we could send a wave that might disrupt its core. The idea sparked a wave of hope among the team. They quickly began calculations, analyzing the star systems around them. "There's a star system nearby," one of the scientists pointed out. "It has several stars that we could use." "Let's move closer," Dr. Collins commanded. The crew worked together, navigating their ship through the vastness of space. As they traveled, the beauty of the stars filled the view screen, but the dark shadow of the Planet Eater loomed ominously in the background. As they approached the star system, the ship's systems alerted them to gravitational disturbances. "It's unstable," shouted an engineer. "We need to stabilize the ship or we'll be pulled in." Dr. Collins quickly responded, adjusting the controls with precision. "Hold on, everyone! We can get through this." The crew tightened their grips, feeling the strain of the ship as it battled against the forces trying to pull them in. With careful maneuvering, they broke through the chaos and found a stable orbit around one of the brighter stars. "We made it!" One crew member cheered, relief flooding the room. Dr. Collins took a moment to catch her breath. "Now let's get to work. We need to harness energy from this star." The crew jumped into action, using their technology to tap into the star's energy output. They created a device that could channel the energy into a concentrated pulse. "Once we have enough energy, we'll send it towards the Planet Eater," Dr. Collins explained. "We'll have only one chance to make it count." As they worked, the mood began to shift. The crew exchanged nervous glances, but also shared smiles. They felt a sense of unity, knowing they were fighting for their planet and for countless others. They were not just scientists, they were now warriors against a common enemy. Hours passed as they collected the energy, and finally their device beeped with readiness. "We have enough energy to create a strong pulse," shouted the engineer. The team gathered around the control panel, excitement and nerves swirling in the air. "Get ready," Dr. Collins said. "This is our moment. We'll send the pulse straight into the core of the Planet Eater." They set their coordinates, aiming the ship towards the dark giant. As they prepared to fire, Dr. Collins took a deep breath. "Remember, we are doing this for everyone who has suffered because of that monster. Let's show it what humans are capable of." With a countdown, they readied the pulse. 3, 2, 1, fire! The control room lit up as the energy beam shot from their ship towards the Planet Eater. For a moment, everything felt still. The energy pulse raced through space, illuminating the dark void. But just as they began to feel hopeful, a powerful wave erupted from the Planet Eater in response. "It's fighting back!" one of the crew members shouted, panic rising again. "Stay calm! Adjust the ship's shields!" Dr. Collins ordered. They braced themselves for the shock wave, holding on tightly as the ship shook violently. The crew worked together, focusing on stabilizing the ship and keeping it intact. As the dust settled, they stared at the view screen in disbelief. The Planet Eater had absorbed the energy pulse, but it was now glowing with a strange light. It was alive and aware, and it had not yet been defeated. The battle was just beginning, and the team realized they had to be even smarter and braver to face this unimaginable force. After the near disaster of the first energy pulse, the atmosphere inside the spaceship was tense. The crew, once filled with excitement, now looked worried and uncertain. Dr. Sarah Collins paced back and forth, trying to calm her racing thoughts. The Planet Eater was stronger than they had imagined, and they needed a new plan. "Listen up, everyone," Dr. Collins called out, gathering her team around the control panel. The first pulse was only the beginning. "We need to come up with a bold plan to stop the Planet Eater once and for all." The team looked at her, eyes wide with hope. "But how?" one engineer asked. "It absorbed our energy so easily. How can we fight something that powerful?" "We can't give up," Dr. Collins replied, her voice firm. "We need to think outside the box. If we can't overpower it with energy, maybe we can trick it." The crew exchanged glances, intrigued. "What do you mean?" another scientist asked. Dr. Collins took a deep breath. "What if we create a distraction? If we can draw its attention away, we might be able to hit it where it's weak." A murmur of agreement spread through the group. "We could use the stars as a source of energy," suggested an engineer. "If we set up multiple energy pulses around the Planet Eater, it might focus on them instead of our main attack." "Yes," Dr. Collins said, her excitement growing. "We can create several small pulses that mimic the energy of stars. The Planet Eater will be drawn to them, thinking it can consume them. But how do we set that up?" one of the scientists asked. Dr. Collins glanced at the screens displaying the nearby star systems. We'll need to harness energy from more stars around us and create smaller devices that can release the pulses. It will take teamwork and quick thinking, but I believe we can do it. The crew began to discuss the details, their enthusiasm rising again. They divided into groups, each tasked with different parts of the plan. Some would gather energy from nearby stars, while others worked on building the pulse devices. They knew it would be a race against time, but together they felt strong. As the team worked diligently, Dr. Collins felt a surge of pride. She watched her team collaborate, combining their skills and knowledge. It reminded her of why she had chosen this path in the first place. They were not just fighting for their planet. They were fighting for all life in the galaxy. Hours turned into days as they prepared for the mission. The crew worked tirelessly, overcoming obstacles and solving problems as they arose. With each success, their confidence grew. Finally, they were ready. The ship was now equipped with multiple pulse devices, each set to release energy at different intervals. "This is it!" Dr. Collins said, her voice filled with determination. "If we execute this perfectly, we can trick the Planet Eater and create an opening for our main attack." They plotted the course back towards the Planet Eater. As they neared the dark giant, Dr. Collins felt a mix of excitement and fear. "Remember," she reminded her crew, "timing is everything. We need to stay focused and work together." As they entered the gravitational pull of the Planet Eater, the crew felt the pressure building. "Activate the first pulse," Dr. Collins commanded. The first device shot out a beam of energy toward the Planet Eater, creating a bright flash in the darkness. The Planet Eater reacted almost immediately, its core glowing in response to the energy pulse. "It's working!" one crew member shouted, their faces lighting up with hope. "Now the second pulse," Dr. Collins ordered. They launched the next device, and the Planet Eater shifted its attention, drawn to the new source of energy. The crew worked quickly, activating each pulse in succession. The Planet Eater was becoming more and more focused on the distractions, its core glowing brighter with each energy wave. Dr. Collins watched in awe as their plan unfolded. "Prepare the main pulse," she shouted, adrenaline pumping through her veins. The time for the real attack was near. With the Planet Eater distracted, they had a chance to strike at its heart. As they set the coordinates for the final energy pulse, the crew felt a renewed sense of hope. They were no longer just scientists, they were heroes ready to save their galaxy from destruction. The bold plan was in motion, and now all they could do was pray it would work. With their bold plan set in motion, Dr. Sarah Collins and her crew felt a mix of excitement and tension as they approached the Planet Eater once more. The dark planet loomed ahead, its surface swirling with energy. They had successfully distracted it with multiple energy pulses, but now they needed to strike at its core. "Prepare to activate the main pulse," Dr. Collins shouted, her heart racing. The control room buzzed with energy as the crew moved into position. They knew that this was their moment, a chance to save their home and the lives of countless others. "Activating now," one of the engineers confirmed. The ship's systems hummed to life, ready to unleash the powerful energy they had gathered. Dr. Collins glanced at the view screen, watching as the Planet Eater reacted to the energy pulses swirling around it. Its core glowed brighter, drawn to the distractions like a moth to a flame. "Let's do this!" Dr. Collins shouted, her voice filled with determination. "On my mark, we fire the main pulse." The crew held their breath, waiting for her command. The tension in the room was palpable, but they knew they had come too far to back down now. 3, 2, 1, fire, Dr. Collins commanded. The ship erupted with light as the main pulse shot forward, racing through space towards the Planet Eater. It was a brilliant beam of energy, shimmering like a star as it flew towards its target. For a moment, everything felt still, the galaxy holding its breath. But then something unexpected happened. The Planet Eater, sensing the incoming pulse, unleashed a massive wave of energy in retaliation. The shock wave hit their ship like a thunderclap, shaking it violently. "Hold on!" Dr. Collins shouted, gripping the control panel tightly. The crew scrambled to stabilize the ship as alarms blared around them. "We need to adjust the shields," one of the engineers yelled. They worked quickly, their training kicking in as they fought to regain control. The view screen flickered as the Planet Eater absorbed the energy pulse, its core glowing with fierce power. "It's too strong!" a crew member cried out in despair. "What do we do now?" Dr. Collins took a deep breath, her mind racing. We can't give up! We have to fire another pulse. If we can weaken it just a little more, we might break through. They quickly recharged their energy reserves, readying another pulse. This time, we have to hit it at the right angle, Dr. Collins said. Let's aim for the weak spots we discovered earlier. With renewed focus, the crew set their sights on the Planet Eater's core. They knew that this was their last chance. As they prepared to fire again, Dr. Collins felt the weight of the galaxy on her shoulders. Failure was not an option. Firing in 3, 2, 1, now! She called out. The ship released another wave of energy, aimed straight at the heart of the Planet Eater. The pulse shot through the darkness, striking the core. For a moment, nothing happened. The crew stared in silence, waiting for the impact. Then, with a blinding flash, the core exploded in a shower of light. The Planet Eater shook violently, its surface cracking and splitting apart. "It's working!" someone shouted, disbelief mixing with joy. But the battle was not over yet. As the Planet Eater began to crumble, it retaliated with all its fury. Dark tendrils of energy lashed out, striking their ship. The crew struggled to keep the ship steady as it rocked back and forth. "Adjust the shields to maximum," Dr. Collins ordered. "We need to protect ourselves." The ship trembled under the onslaught, and the crew worked frantically to reinforce their defenses. Alarms blared, but they refused to give in. They were determined to finish what they had started. As the Planet Eater continued to disintegrate, it released one final wave of energy. The ship shook violently, and for a moment it seemed like all hope was lost. But Dr. Collins held her ground, eyes fixed on the view screen. "Stay strong, everyone! We can do this!" she shouted. "Keep fighting!" With one last push, the crew activated the final pulse, sending a concentrated wave of energy into the heart of the crumbling Planet Eater. The explosion was deafening, a brilliant burst of light that illuminated the darkness of space. As the light faded, the crew held their breath, staring at the view screen. The Planet Eater was gone, leaving only a cloud of cosmic dust behind. Cheers erupted in the control room as the weight of their victory sank in. "We did it!" Dr. Collins exclaimed, her heart soaring with relief. They had faced the unimaginable and emerged victorious. But as they celebrated, they knew that this was only the beginning. They had proven that humanity could stand against even the darkest of threats, and together they could face anything the universe threw at them. The crew of the spaceship floated in a state of disbelief. They had just witnessed the destruction of the Planet Eater, a threat that had loomed over their galaxy like a dark shadow. The view screen displayed the remnants of the once mighty entity, now reduced to a cloud of cosmic dust. Relief washed over them, but so did a sense of wonder. They had fought against a force of nature and emerged victorious. "Can you believe it?" whispered Jamie, one of the engineers, his eyes wide with awe. "We actually did it!" Dr. Sarah Collins smiled at her crew, her heart swelling with pride. "Yes, we did! This is a victory for all of humanity. But let's not forget we are still in space. We need to ensure the area is safe before we celebrate fully." The crew nodded, returning to their tasks. They began scanning the surrounding space for any signs of danger or leftover fragments from the Planet Eater that could pose a threat. As they worked, Dr. Collins felt a mix of exhaustion and exhilaration. They had faced the impossible and conquered it, but their journey was far from over. "Dr. Collins, we're getting some strange readings," said Lisa, the ship's science officer, her brow furrowed in concentration. "It seems like there are residual energy waves in the area." "Residual waves?" Dr. Collins asked, her curiosity piqued. "What do they indicate?" "It's hard to say, but it seems like the Planet Eater's energy is still echoing in the surrounding space," Lisa explained. "We might be able to study it to learn more about its structure and behavior. That could help us prepare for future threats," Dr. Collins said, nodding. "Let's gather as much data as we can. This could be the key to understanding more about the universe and its dangers." As the crew collected data, they felt a sense of purpose. They were no longer just scientists, they were pioneers, forging a new path for humanity. With the Planet Eater defeated, they realized they had opened a new chapter for their species. After hours of analysis, the crew gathered to discuss their findings. "The energy readings are fascinating," Lisa said, presenting her data. "They indicate that the Planet Eater was part of a larger system, one that could potentially include other entities." "Other entities?" Dr. Collins repeated, her mind racing with possibilities. "Are you suggesting there are more threats out there?" Yes, Lisa replied, and we need to be ready. If the Planet Eater was just one part of a greater system, we may not have seen the last of these creatures. Dr. Collins nodded, understanding the gravity of their situation. We need to share this information with the Earth and the Galactic Council. They must know what we've discovered and be prepared for any future threats. The crew sprang into action, preparing a detailed report of their findings and the events that had unfolded. They worked late into the night, fueled by a sense of urgency. The universe was vast and unpredictable, and they had to ensure that humanity would not be caught off guard again. Finally, after completing their report, Dr. Collins sent a transmission back to Earth. This is Dr. Sarah Collins of the SS Discovery. We have vital information regarding the Planet Eater and potential future threats. Please advise the Galactic Council immediately. As they waited for a response, the crew shared stories of their experiences, laughter filling the control room. They felt closer than ever, united by their struggle and their victory. They had fought together and learned to trust one another, and that bond would last a lifetime. Soon, a response came from Earth. Dr. Collins, your report has been received. The Galactic Council wishes to commend you and your team for your bravery and quick thinking. We will take immediate action based on your findings. Cheers erupted in the control room as the crew celebrated their success. They had not only defeated a powerful enemy, but they had also paved the way for humanity to explore the universe without fear. From now on, we will be known as the crew that faced the Planet Eater and won, Dr. Collins said, her voice filled with pride. Let this victory inspire others to stand strong against any challenges that may come our way. As they looked out at the stars, the crew felt a renewed sense of hope. They were ready for whatever the universe had in store for them. With their newfound knowledge and determination, they stepped into a new era for humanity, a time of exploration, discovery, and unity against the unknown. Together, they would face whatever challenges lay ahead, knowing that they were stronger than any darkness they encountered.